Hi, I'm Christy. Welcome to Commodores Kitchen, Vanderbilt's only cooking show where you'll find delicious recipes that are easy to make. Today, in spirit of Valentine's Day, we're making brunch. Here's what's up first. Pecan praline overnight French toast. Crunchy and sweet, this dish is made the night before, so you can sleep in and pop it in the oven when you're ready to eat. And next, poached egg salad. Crispy pancetta, buttery avocado, and a runny egg. This dish is light but indulgent. And then we'll finish it off with mini donuts. These two biters are made with 3 easy glazes and can satisfy your ultimate sweet tooth. So stick around and fall in love with our food.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and today we're going to make my favorite overnight pecan praline French toast. It's so easy and so good. All you have to do is make it the night before, pop it in the oven when you wake up, and it's good to go. Let's get started. So I'm going to start by cracking 7 eggs in this bowl. Next, I'm going to add 2 cups of 1% milk. You can use soy milk, skim milk, almond milk, whatever you like. I'm using 1% and a little bit of half and half to make it a little richer. Little dash of salt. Salt's super important when you're baking. Rounds out the flavors. Then I'm going to add a little bit of orange zest for a depth of flavor. Two tablespoons of sugar. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I always add a little extra. Then half a teaspoon of cinnamon for a little bit of warmth and spice. Now I'm going to whisk this all together. Let's get started on the bread. So I have here a loaf of challah. You can actually get it at the grocery store. Challah is a little more special than just regular sandwich bread. It's made with egg and it's a little denser. So just cut it in about 1/2 thumb inch slices. Okay, so I have here a pre-greased baking dish. You can use cooking spray, butter, whatever you like. So you might need to get a little creative, but lay the slices of bread so they look pretty, because this is the part that people are going to see. So let's come back to our egg mixture. Give it one more whisk. And go ahead and pour this evenly all over the bread. This is like the eggy, delicious custard base of the French toast. Now let's get started on the crunchy pecan praline topping. It's so sweet, so crispy, my favorite part. So I have here already 1/2 stick of melted butter. To that, I'm going to add 3/4 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar. Really firmly packed. Then I'm going to add 1½ tablespoons of corn syrup. We're going to add another 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we're going to add 3/4 cup of chopped pecans. Stir that all up. Okay, let's come back to our bread. Give it a little smush with your hand so that every piece of bread has some egg mixture. It's a very technical term, smush. Perfect. And then with the spoon, evenly distribute the praline topping on top of all the bread. It's the best part, so make sure everyone gets a little. Perfect. Now it's time to take out the French toast. I already made one last night and put it in the oven. Bake it at 350 degrees for 40 minutes until the top is golden and the custard is set. So with the spatula, cut everyone a big piece because it's so good. You can top it however you want, but I have some strawberries here for color, and it's Valentine's Day. And a little sprinkling of powdered sugar. As everyone who knows me knows, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day, but the worst part is waking up early and cooking everything. Here's the solution. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Neil, and because today's menu has a lot of sweet dishes on it, we're going to do a savory dish right now that kind of rounds out our overall meal, makes it more of a brunch instead of just a breakfast. So what we're going to do is a poached egg salad that's going to have a lot of components to it, a lot of different textures and flavors that are going to be really delicious together. I'm going to start by crisping up some pancetta. Pancetta is a lot like bacon, but kind of Italy's version of bacon, I'd call it. So we're going to take this. This was pre-bought cut like this, so we didn't have to chop it or anything. And I've just got it in about a tablespoon of olive oil right now. Just going to stir it around the pan until it gets nice and crispy. All right, so instead of washing out our pan, we're actually going to use the pancetta fat that was just cooking to toast our croutons. This is going to add a lot of flavor to them and make sure they stay really crispy. So this is just some French bread that I've cubed up. We'll throw it right in there, and we're just going to toast it in that mixture of oil and fat from the pancetta. And so because we've got the crispy pancetta and we've got these croutons to contrast with the avocados that are creamy and the egg yolk, we're going to have a lot of textures going around in this dish, a lot of flavors. It's going to be a really nice experience putting it all together. Okay, so the croutons are looking nice and crispy. And if you find that the pancetta fat isn't quite enough to get them there, you can always just add some more olive oil to the pan. So I'm going to put them right there for when we want to plate our salad. All right, so next up we're going to do the most important part of this dish, the poached egg. And if you've never poached an egg before, it might sound a little complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is just crack it into this bowl. Just throw that there. And I've got some water here. It's not quite boiling, but it's hot enough that it's steaming. So you want to get it kind of just before the boil. What I'm going to do, the water also has some vinegar in it, which helps the egg coagulate a little more and hold its shape when we poach it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the egg in using this bowl so it can kind of enter the water in one shape. And then I'm going to take this slotted spoon I have here and just make sure I'm pushing the egg, all the white around the egg, next to the yolk so it stays in one piece. You're going to have some little bits breaking off, and that's okay. Just do your best. So I've just got some mixed greens over here, some basic spinach and arugula. I'm going to add to that some sliced avocado. And like I said before, this is going to add a really nice creamy element along with the egg yolk. Just like that. And then I've cut in half some yellow and red cherry tomatoes. This is going to add a really nice bright color, and that's our red in there for Valentine's Day. All right, that looks good. Let me check on our egg. All right, it's coming along nicely, so I'm going to top it with our dressing and then we'll add the egg on right after that. So our dressing is just a really basic vinaigrette. I've got about a half a cup of olive oil in here and a half a cup of the same vinegar that I used in the water, and then just a tablespoon of Dijon and a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper. Make sure you whisk it together right before you plate it because, as you know, oil and vinegar don't mix so well and you really gotta force them to stay together. So give it a little whisk right here. And then I'm just gonna drizzle it really lightly over. And since we have a lot of creamy components like the egg yolk and the avocado, this salad dressing is gonna add some acid to it and make the dish more interesting flavor-wise. So we've got our dressing drizzled over it and our egg is ready to plate. All right, so I'm using my slotted spoon. It's perfect because it lets the water drain out as we pick up the egg, and as you can see, the white is nice and solidified, but the egg yolk is still runny, which is exactly what we want. And there we go. I'm just gonna use our pepper grinder here to add a little bit of pepper on top of the egg. And now with a fork, I'm just going to cut the egg open so you can see the nice egg white kind of ooze out over the whole salad, or egg yolk actually. So there we go. That looks delicious. And that mixed with the vinaigrette and the avocado and all the different flavors is just going to be a party in your mouth.
And I'm going to show you how to make mini donuts. First, we're going to start off with the dry ingredients. 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and make sure you measure it off. Half of a cup of sugar for some sweetness. 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. This will make our donuts rise. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. This is a really warm flavor. It reminds me of fall and Thanksgiving. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And lastly, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And salt really does help all these flavors meld together well. We're just going to sift our ingredients together, and this will make sure we have a really nice smooth donut batter. Okay, so that's it for our dry ingredients. Now I'm just going to start with our wet ingredients. In a separate bowl, we're going to crack 1 room temperature egg, into that, 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And this, the acidity in the buttermilk will keep the donut soft and moist. A teaspoon of vanilla extract for a good floral flavor. And lastly, about 1/2 of an orange zest. Whisk this all together. And I think orange zest and cinnamon just pair really, really well together. Okay, so now that that's mixed up, we're just going to add the wet right into the dry. So it's almost just about come together, and I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of room temperature butter. And you really want to make sure it's room temperature so you don't scramble the egg. Just a quick little mix again. Okay. So now here comes the fun part. I bought this little mini donut pan online, and it's a great way to make someone a cute gift without it being too expensive. So to get them in these donut holes, what I've done is I've taken a plastic bag and I've just turned it upside down over a cup. And this will make it really easy, and you can have both of your hands to pour it in. So we just about got all of it in our bag. And so next, before we pipe it into the donut pan, I'm just going to cut a really small hole at the corner of this. And it might come out quickly, so just be ready. Okay, and I'm just going to fill them about halfway to 3/4 of the way full. So now they're done. And we're just going to bake these at 350 degrees for 12 minutes until they're lightly brown on top or until they spring back when you touch them with your finger. So now my donuts have cooled, and I'm going to teach you how to make 3 easy glazes. First, we're going to start off with 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of milk, if it spills, that's okay. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then whisk until combined. Just take your mini donut, do a little swirl, okay, and to transform this to make one of our 3rd icings, I'm going to use a little bit of red food dye for Valentine's Day. Just a little drop should do the trick. Okay. Whisk it. Dip it again. And now for our chocolate glaze. We're going to start off the same way, just do 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and then 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. And then again, about a tablespoon, and we can do 1.5 tablespoons this time of milk. Just a little extra should be good. And whisk until combined. So now we have a nice thick chocolate glaze. Okay, I'm just going to finish up glazing these donuts, and we'll see you back in a minute. Thank you so much for joining us on Commodores Kitchen. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Find these recipes and more at vanderbilttelevision.com. See you next time.